person I am. So grow, you are a crowd to my journeys of unorthodox origin. Others thought I shouldn't have been allowed to give to me as I am, giving you a part of myself, expanding beyond myself, standing alone as part of an invisible unit. 6, unforeseen shadow, foreseen is my rebirth of righteousness. Thanks to friends, the apple of my eye is ripe and you've plucked it, allowing its continuous ability to regenerate in the depths of your essence. Time will tell what is to come. Life will tell what is to be. Follow the path to love and not self-hatred, and thrive on experiences, nectar and flourish. Be the honeybee engorged with pollinating intentions. Be the angel lost on the search for the love of life that has been abandoned. Live life as the trees do and germinate as the seeds do. Explore with an unforeseen shadow in hand and be as you never were. Allow inspiration to overshadow your displacement. Appreciation is my option for enjoyment to give as it is given to you, my fellow deviants. The fires of all that is now with all that is right. Be as you never were. Just be. Enjoy.
What's up, everybody? Thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate it. Tonight we are going to be going through Unforeseen Shadows. It's been 20 years, actually, since I put the record out. And yeah, I'm super excited to kind of give you guys some insight on the development of the record. You know, my thought process in writing some of the songs. You know, like, this was the one that started it all, you know? This was that record that kind of gave me a foothold into the underground community. I was already part of a crew called Third Eye in Columbus, Ohio. And, you know, we were getting pretty well known. I was known for battling. I was known for just being a dope MC, being a dope freestyler. I used to set up battles in high school, and you know, I just had that reputation of being an MC. So when I went to college in 1998, I want to say, I was 18, yeah, 1998. When I went to college, I had previously met Blueprint at the Hip Hop Expo here in Columbus, Ohio, when I won the freestyle competition there. And he invited me and my crew to come and perform at Wittenberg University, which was the school that he attended at the time. And you know, we went down there and we rocked it, and maybe a year later I was going to the University of Cincinnati where he lived, and I let him know that I was there. Jay Rawls also was in school there at the University of Cincinnati. Dose One also went to the University of Cincinnati. Y also went to the University of Cincinnati. So it was a lot of cats there. Ill Poetic actually went to the University of Cincinnati. And so I let him know that I was coming there, and in that time he invited me, you know, to come check out his crib. You know what I'm saying? At that time he had just started making beats. I don't know exactly how long he had been making beats at that time, but he was making beats. And yeah, you know, like, he invited me over. He would come pick me up from my dorm and take me to his crib. And in the process of that, we recorded the first song that I ever did with Weightless, and that song was called Weightless, and this is where we came up with the name for the crew. And it was kind of ironic because at the time I was in a crew, and as I said, I was in the third, and things were all good. We were making really dope records, but I wanted to do something different. I wanted to stretch my wings a little bit. And so in doing that, just getting down there with Blueprint, he gave me a little oomph, a little push to kind of go out on my own and, kind of stretch my wings a little bit. So when I decided to do that, after we recorded the song Weightless, which hopefully you guys have heard. If not, I'm going to give you a little taste. But yeah, once we recorded that song, we, started to do songs here and there. And, what you guys hear now as Unforeseen Shadows, that's what that album was. So, it was interesting at the time just trying to develop who I was as an MC and as an artist. And Blueprint definitely gave me that push that I needed to become the artist that I wanted to be. And in the process of us, recording songs and all of that, we developed one of the illest friendships ever. And to this day, Blueprint is like my best friend. And I would never, definitely my best friend. And so what I'm gonna do now is give you a little taste of the song that kind of started it all for me and my journey with Blueprint and my Weightless journey, and what kind of led to the development of Unforeseen Shadows. And this song is called Weightless.
Hey, yeah, this is the minor league. MC Manifest, Blueprint, with an extra special guest from the third eye. Illogic, yeah. It's like that. Yeah. First up, who we gonna have? You first, Manifest? Okay.
How much do you weigh?
I consider myself weightless. Whack MCs hate this display of my greatness. Science that I drop is very heavy. Let me introduce you into my method.
How much do you weigh?
I consider myself weightless. Whack MCs hate this display of my greatness. Science that I drop is very heavy. Let me introduce you into my medley. As I find myself facing future phantoms, I amass massive amounts of membrane, bordering thoughts left to the insane. The picture of fed optic acuity causing eye strain. On the lead to richer flow, whack MCs inhabit the floodplain. Manifest ordained to sustain aspirations of linguistic mastery. Convey my messages with assassinate accuracy, weightlessly rationalize elevations of my heresy. MCs coming out until I'm making a tip to embarrass me, but I'll recuperate reciprocablistically. On target with consistency, snipers are missing me. Controlling your movement with psychological intensity. Now that you're here, release my volatile propensity. I plan to numb what you feel with anesthesia, cause you're hesitant to flow like nasty cats with gonorrhea. Sensation of being burned is not a pleasant one to feel. Mouth spitting out flame like the rear of the Batmobile, leave an imprint to the mic in your grill. I knock you out and reawake your ass to sheer will. Minor league responsible for the loss of stolen articles and damage caused by hyper-accelerated sound particles. What we're singing here will make you sort your slacks. Manifest rhyme, legitimize hypochondriacs.
How much do you weigh?
I consider myself weightless. Whack MCs hate this display of my greatness. Science that I drop is very heavy. Let me introduce you into my medley.
How much do you weigh?
I consider myself weightless. Whack MCs hate this display of my greatness. Science that I drop is very heavy. Let me introduce you into my medley. Hey handsome, step over into my realm of calorieless fat, where I wrap MCs in boxes. Beautiful paper design, staple is mine to the pavement. Hip-hop's a slave in a slave ship, cause I got it on lock. Hakalugi I do onto your life force, cause with it, I'm disgusted. You fallen from the grace of this celestial being. Being all-seeing, thrusted javelin thoughts towards the words you projected. In foul, I have projectiles with which if spit protection not an option. Optical flogging, visual clogging, lyrical oracle of pinwheels will spin scale, fogging your mental windshield. I elevate above Otis's contraption, takes you to levels where minds of devils rapping, rapes you. Inhale carbon monoxide, waiting to exhale. Inhale where you blend well. With brimstone, set aflame to shame the frail. Conscious lame bars, spitting nonsense of the same. All games are sometimes play without all the pieces. For releases of stress, I stress the fact that I impress my text in your chest and lap. With one lunge of my fierce, effortless rap. Backtrack and rethink your thoughts, a wide open fake wish to take me out when I'm weightless. When I'm weightless. When I'm weightless, I consider myself weightless. Whack MCs hate this display of my greatness. Science that I drop is very heavy. Let me introduce you into my medley.
How much do you weigh?
I consider myself weightless. Whack MCs hate this display of my greatness. Science that I drop is very heavy. Let me introduce you into my medley. Automatic crash and burn. The fate of MCs that haven't learned. Taking it for granted that they'd always have a turn, but haven't heard that amateurs have to earn respect of their peers before they get any cheers. These microphone quiz get greeted with cold stares. My clique is bold. Sit in the front row with those chairs, keeping my foes scared. Bitch niggas talking about it's no fear. We got them scared to do shows here. Patrolling the North Pole with no fear like the polar bear. You safe now, but just wait until the snow clears. You disappear into the wilderness. Another hapless salmon that didn't make the pilgrimage. My predatory territory can be visited only by true masters of ceremony. Scaring a phony by staring boldly until they realize that they can never know me. I'm dissing niggas openly. Set it off on your whole set for fluent like pussy, but Blueprint got the Kotex and Massengill. State certified rapping skill. The losers of grant, you got you chasing mass appeal until your airplane starts to plummet. So fly, you forgot your flight number was 800. I navigate by way of the real space mastery. The minor league and Illogic defy the laws of gravity. I consider myself weightless. Whack MCs hate this display of my greatness. Science that I drop is very heavy. Let me introduce you into my medley.
How much do you weigh?
I consider myself weightless. Whack MCs hate this display of my greatness. Science that I drop is very heavy. Let me introduce you into my medley.
How much do you weigh?
Yeah, the minor weightless. We weightless. Hate this display of my greatness. Heavy ass, faggot ass MCs. Heavy. Let me the real hip hop shit went to my medley. My man Illogic. Pop weightless. Hate this display of my greatness. Science that I drop is very heavy. Let me introduce you into my medley. Third eye. Weightless. Hate this display of my greatness. Everybody, everywhere. Introduce you into my hands in the air. It's like that, y'all. It's like that, y'all. Hate this display of my greatness. Science that I drop is very heavy. Let me introduce you into my medley. Yeah, but I consider myself weightless. Whack MCs hate this of my science that I drive is very heavy. And let me introduce you into my medley.
Yeah, that was so much fun to record, and I definitely appreciate at the time Blueprint kind of bringing me into the fold and allowing me to be part of that. So, and ironically, if you listen to that song, we all say our, Blueprint says our names at the end, and they give a shout out to Third Eye, which was the crew that I was in at the time. And at the time I was down in college because a couple of members of the crew actually went to school with me. And, and Blacksmith, which was part of Third Eye, he's actually on the album, on Unforeseen Shadows. where we have all of the how we have the interludes. And ironically, doing Unforeseen Shadows is part of what got me kicked out of the crew. And there was some other things that, you know, we had some issues with, but that was part of it. The fact that I wanted to stretch out and, you know, do some things on my own. But, you know, all over the record, if you listen to it, I give Third Eye shouts out all over the record. So it was kind of crazy, the fact that they kind of put me in a position where, you know, they didn't necessarily want me to go out on my own. And of course, again, there were some other issues that that caused some, you know, some things between us. But so let's start out. Unforeseen Shadows, the introduction, which I played at the opening of the stream. The introduction was a poem that I had written, kind of giving me, you know, kind of introducing myself to the world, kind of letting everybody know that I was here and I was coming to wreck shop. You know what I'm saying? I was coming to show everybody what I was capable of and show everybody what kind of MC I was, and that there wasn't anybody like me and there never would be another. So the introduction was definitely, you know, I think to this day still like was the perfect introduction to the world for me, and to give people an idea of what to expect from an artist like me. Starting an album out with a poem was something that at that time in hip hop, you know, this was 98. So we were, you know, in the kind of flashy era, kind of height of drug rap and the Jiggy, Puffy, Biggie, all of that. And, well, not necessarily the height, but, and, you know, for me to come in with a poem and come in as a poet initially was something new and something special. And I think that's one of the reasons why Unforeseen Shadows got the love that it got when the album came out, because it was definitely something different. And granted, the underground was bubbling pretty heavy at the time, so there was a lot of poets. You know, I mean, you had Slug, you had all of the Rhyme Sayers crew, you had Dose, Aesop was bubbling at the time. So it was definitely a time for, you know, me to step out of the shadow of the Third and really step out on my own. So the introduction was definitely a way for me to introduce myself to the world and let them know that I was here to do that. So next we have one of my favorite songs on the album, and hopefully a lot of yours too, What It Takes. What It Takes was What It Takes was a concept that I came up with, just thinking, you know, what it takes to be an MC, what I thought it took to be an MC at the time. And, you know, like, I don't know if we went into this record with a formula necessarily, but I just wanted the record to kind of flow and be cohesive and, you know, have multiple concepts, not just me rapping about being the dopest rapper, not just, you know, me talking about all the stuff that I had. I wanted it to, you know, have a range of ideas, and I wanted to give people something to listen to that they wouldn't necessarily get tired of. So, you know, What It Takes was a joint that I remember Prince sending me the beat, and I was super, super excited because I think the first verse of it, I had it done already before I got the beat. And once I got the beat, then the second verse and the bridge portion came to me immediately. So I want to hit y'all with What It Takes, and, you know, hopefully you guys, you know, remember this song and you love it as much as I do. All right, so here we go. Here is What It Takes.
Yeah, the Illogic.
I don't know what you thought you had or what you got. But yo, to be an MC, it takes a lot. Are you willing to take the responsibility of this quest? Cause if you do it right, you might not have nothing left. It takes artistic ability and know-how lyrically to express in forms of poetical wizardry. It takes rhythmic structures and phenomenal thoughts. It takes creation of hooks on which the whack can get caught. It takes knowledge of self and creator. It takes paying attention to that music in the elevator and elevating. If you call yourself a lyrical surgeon, it takes patience. It takes taking a trip with God on that ship of relation. It takes self-denial and realization. It takes keeping it realistic, not real just to become a statistic. It takes evolution and edification. It takes a person, it takes a family, it takes a city, it takes a nation. It takes surrounding sound, not letting sound surround you. It takes surrounding yourself with fam and a dope crew. It takes hot tracks and it takes hot use of words. I don't know about you, but for me it took the third. I don't know what you thought you had or what you got. But yo, to be an MC it takes a lot. Are you willing to take the responsibility of this quest? Cause if you do it right, you might not have nothing left. I don't know what you thought you had or what you got. But yo, to be an MC it takes a lot. Are you willing to take the responsibility of this quest? Cause if you do it right, you might not have nothing left. It takes a sense of focus and clear mind state. It takes shape and destiny and accepting fate. It takes you taking a stand and not conceit. It takes you being and acting like a man and not a beast. It takes squashing beef. It takes treating our women like queens and men like kings. It takes replacement of material with spiritual things. It takes a one for education and lack of stupidity. It takes discovering your faults and seeking a remedy. It takes some illogical thinking in this rational world. It takes passiveness and confrontation, rebellion and confirmation. It takes an open and a closed mind. It takes a lack of compromise and finding some truth in lies. It takes healing, it takes losing, it takes trying. It takes winning, it takes losing, it takes living, it takes dying. It takes them, it takes us, it takes you, it takes me. These are the essentials I think it takes to be an MC. I don't know what you thought you had or what you got. But yo, to be an MC it takes a lot. Are you willing to take the responsibility of this quest? Cause if you do it right, you might not have nothing left. I don't know what you thought you had or what you got. But yo, to be an MC it takes a lot. Are you willing to take the responsibility of this quest? Cause if you do it right, you might not have nothing left. I'm an MC cause I got what it takes. Are you an MC? Do you have what it takes? If you don't know, I'll define it. So go ahead, kid, and just rewind it. I'm an MC cause I got what it takes. Are you an MC? Do you have what it takes? If you don't know, I've defined it. So go ahead, kid, and just rewind it.
Clap your hands, everybody. If you got what it takes. Everybody, if you got what it takes. Everybody, if you got what it takes. Clap your hands, everybody. Yeah, man, I love that song. That's like definitely one of my favorites out of all of the album. Definitely one of my favorites. So yeah, like What It Takes was just one of those joints, and it was definitely one of my favorites to perform at the time too, because it had some energy, and DJ Prism was my DJ. I had multiple DJs, but DJ Prism was my main guy, and when I went out on my first tour, that idea actually took me, Prism, and Brew Lee out on. Performing What It Takes was really cool because we had the cuts. Prism could cut that KRS. Clap your hands, everybody. Get some crowd participation popping. But all right, so we're gonna move on to Me Versus Myself featuring I. Now, interestingly enough about this song, at the time, I don't think there was anyone that had written a song where they were battling themselves. I don't think there was any songs that have really had a kind of identity crisis within them. And at the time I was really, I was an MC, so I was arrogant as hell. And I thought that I was the dopest thing on the planet. So I figured, because as a battle rapper at the time, I thought there was nobody that could beat me but me. So I just figured like, hey, it'd be kind of cool if I wrote a song where I battled myself, where I like walked into a cypher and saw a dude that looked like me, you know what I'm saying, and that was spitting and that sounded like me, and I battled him, and we see who won. So when I remember hitting Blueprint with the topic, and I mean, I from what I remember, he was pretty excited because it was definitely something original, and it gave him a chance to play around with the effects, with the vocals, and things like that. If you listen to Unforeseen Shadows in full, the way that it was mixed, right ear, left ear, like there's a whole lot of little nuances within the album that makes the album crazy ill. So, it's definitely one of my favorites. Definitely one of my favorites. So we're gonna move on to Lioness. Lioness at the time was one of my closest friends. I was introduced to her from Dose One, by Dose One. And she was an MC, and she was one of the few female MCs that I knew. And she was very, very ill. I thought she was super, super dope. And she's actually the first person that I ever smoked weed with when I was doing those things in college. And short story, the first time that I smoked weed, I was with her, one of her friends, and Dante from Mood. And, we just chilling at her crib, and, everybody knew, well, I don't think they knew that I hadn't smoked before. So they was just doing what they normally do. Dante, rolled up a couple things, a couple blunts, and, we just started smoking, talking, listening to music, chilling. And, after a while, it was like, I didn't realize that I had smoked 3 blunts with them, because they were normally smoking. They was always smoking, so 3 blunts to them was nothing. To me, 3 blunts put me on my ass. And I remember getting taken back to my dorm room, and Lioness and her friend had to basically carry me up to my dorm room and get me there. And I really didn't remember the night until the next day when she told me. But anyway, Lioness was, one of my coolest friends. And on this album, if you listen to it, the introduction, Lioness, all these interludes that have a name of an artist, which Lioness, Blacksmith, Dose One, and then Blueprint has one as well. And all of them have the same beat. And I wanted to kind of utilize the same beat as a tie-in to everything. Like, the album almost plays like a movie where it has, like, different scenes, and the interludes kind of break everything up into its different scenes. So after Lioness, we have Blau. Blau was just me flexing as an MC, me just wanting to show off my skills, show off my, verbose lyrical ability. And, it became one of those joints that people really liked, and kind of, gave me a little bit of a reputation as a spitter. And, Blau was definitely one of my favorites, and I want to give y'all a little taste of that right now. All right, here we go. Blau coming at ya.
Yeah, Illogic, Wanderer.
With Lioness on the hook, actually.
And that's, yeah, ripping caps, earlobe to earlobe, slice of melons, check it out. Yo, this cat'll be packing raps until the earth's gone. You flashy while I shine in threads of jet black and earth tones gleaming. You couldn't make it come up if your voice box with balls and words was seeming. My Lyrinex is a text, so after I spit it's left steaming. Chicks screaming, bodies falling, eclipse light at C3, 60 degrees of dead MCs creates a soul cipher. I'm an elite soul sniper, hit a moving spirit through a scope of lyrics till blood's gushing like a geyser. I don't know what you thought, yo, but if you thought, yo, cause after I talk, yo, you'll be playing Russian roulette with a crossbow. I control flows as the moon does the current. Get past and I'm the current. Send through your body to burn it. Ill can get. Jig gets waved, the wig and flip the collar. Cause in a sense, my 6 cents in hell's the sense to make dollars. To take a chick, lay it down, get it down and get me up. Hit her now, then get a stuff. Cuff her now, then get a snuff. I'm so hot to say it touch me and his hands blistered up. Yet I stay cool. You stay hungry for skill and I stay full. I lick shots. My tongue's a spray tool to spray blocks. MC's a butt, so when I eat them, am I talking salad? I hope not. Spit a page on the same stage, you better hope not. Cause with the same range of a Glock cock, I'll blow spots in the show style.
Now you take a step back. The logic's too ill, so disregard a counterattack. Retreat to your post suggestion, you retrace your tracks. Must have dropped your plan straight, the strategy you lack. Now you take a step back. The logic's too ill, so disregard a counterattack. Retreat to your post suggestion, you retrace your tracks. Must have dropped your plan straight, the strategy you lack.
Now I'm the one you need to run from. Cause this track's pound, I compound conundrums in lump sums. Sipping venomous serum, spit from syringes. You say word out, say nouns. Splurge on salvage, then purge the ground. You lower than rat excrement. Who's ever next to spit, then next to split. Extracted life from kids, cause I'm an ecstasis. Free liquidity, iniquity, inspired by Euripides. Engulfs my vocal cords and focus towards the swinging victory. Enter the exit, blenders, splinters, and winners, camouflaged architecture. Abducted, constructed paragraphs can start to fester in cuts infected with what's, what ifs, and possibilities. As if I dip my fingertips in Novocaine. I'm not feeling these gingerbread men, bipedal beings of sugar excess. Talking sign language out the side of their necks. Colloquial gibberish, revoking your privileges. Cause there will be no more caramel on the backdrop of a chocolate existence. Melting asteroid belting the burnt out bioluminescence. Illuminate the psychoanalytic mind state to penetrate. Where life dies and politics are embraced. We're encased in evil. Hit you with grace as I gracious in face with lethal strokes of war paint and hospital blankets and sentences and broken English and need a tourniquets. This verse at random turn this bitch to a buttery precious substance. Condens under pressure, combustion spontaneous. I'm changing this vocal melody to harmonic cacophony. Executing cats with Rasputin attacks of artistry. Knowledge is the key to sparking me, eating me up. You jacking me off in the elevator, the only way you be beating me up. You not an intellectual master of age. I found you stay confounded to the ground and it's confirmed that I'm weightless.
Now you take a step back. The logic's too ill, so disregard a counterattack. Retreat to your post suggestion, you retrace your tracks. Must have dropped your plan straight, the strategy you lack. Now you take a step back. The logic's too ill, so disregard a counterattack. Retreat to your post suggestion, you retrace your tracks. Must have dropped your plan straight, the strategy you lack. Now you take a step back.
Appreciate that, Derek.
Disregard a counterattack. Retreat to your post suggestion, you retrace your tracks. Must have dropped your plan straight, the strategy you lack. Now you take a step back. The logic's too ill, so disregard a counterattack. Retreat to your post suggestion, you retrace your tracks. Must have dropped your plan straight, the strategy you lack.
Blow. Yeah, man, this joint was so fun to do. And honestly, like, I don't understand, honestly, what really made us call it blow. I remember, Lioness wrote the hook, so I'm pretty sure she has something to do with it. But yeah, like, interestingly enough, I'm gonna go back to the little interludes for a second. In the interludes, I asked all of them, because at the time, these were my closest friends. At the time, these were the people that I, wanted to, I spent most of my time with. And I wanted to, with this being the introduction of me to the world, I definitely wanted people to understand what kind of person I was. And the best people to know what kind of person I was at the time were those who considered my best friends. So I had them write about me. That's why all of the interludes have, they're talking about me. And I wanted it to tie the record together with it being my introduction to the world of hip hop. I wanted people to kind of get get a idea of the type of person I was from the mouths of the people who I spent most of my time with and that were the closest to me. So, yeah, that's why the interludes, I'm not a narcissist or anything, but, as MCs, most of us kind of are narcissists, but, I wanted people to kind of get to know who I was. Hey Walker, I've performed in Reno before, but I definitely would love to come back if you know somebody, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, hit me up. But yeah, so back to the record. So yeah, that was Blau. As you hear the instrumental playing in the background. So next we have Favorite Things. And this is a Columbus, Ohio classic, if I do say so myself. It's one of those songs whenever we do a Greenhouse show, we have to perform this song. Like, this is one of those songs where, you know, when me and Blueprint are on stage together, cats want to hear it. Between this and Break Bread and probably Code Out Here from the Greenhouse records. Yeah, this is one of those. And if you listen to the intro, this is when we were like formulating the song. Blueprint had made the beat, and you know, we were kind of, you know, he showed me the beat, and I figured like, okay, let's just write about what our favorite things in hip hop is. And you know, so we were writing, and if you listen to the intro, it kind of gives you, you know, kind of a little insight as to, you know, what our mindset was at the time. And we were super hyped, super excited about doing this song, because we knew we had something special on our hands, and we really couldn't wait to let people hear it, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna give y'all a little taste of that, and next up we got the Favorite Things intro and Favorite Things with me and Blueprint. Check it out.
So these are a few of our favorite things, something, 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 something. We can say it together. Yeah. Say like a fourth bar, like at the end. You know what I'm saying? We can probably repeat it like a kind of like a chorus type thing, and then have it go out with dude.
Favorite things.
You know what I'm saying?
Hands in the air, you know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? We're gonna say something like simple. Both of us can say,
I feel that. I feel that.
Close it out. This should be a quick song. Yeah. Record it real quick.
Lock the shit out.
Yeah. I still love this beat. This beat is so buttery.
My favorite things include hip-hop crowds that ain't biased. Singing heads participate in real rhyme ciphers. Open mics with nobody spitting the written. Original MCs that love being different.
My favorite things include open minds to open mics. So when I get open from rhymes that strike, creativity's a plus. Plus an MC that can crush without a cuss and incise with a dope chick.
My favorite is be girls that pop and lock. They're able to rock the spot. Passers by that stop and jock. Cats that come to a hip-hop spot without feeling the need to cop a Glock and lick
when a
shots.
true MC spits raps, compose a delicate prose on tracks, and when it's felt by the masses, platinum respect lacking blunt ashes. Battle clashes from the top to drop any approaching amateur when a challenge is up to
MCs
caliber.
that shine without boasting. MCs that rhyme with emotion. Elevation without the high posting. MCs that never lose touch and do their own street
When an
promotion.
MC spirituality is the point focal, mine's bi-coastal, expand beyond the local. And when I'm chilling with a pen and pad, filling the lab with vocals, the melodic tunes that reek of the underground's
Somebody
perfume.
I don't know gives me compliments. Seeing humbleness replace overconfidence. Hearing MCs that rap about the consequence instead of glorifying a lifestyle that lacks any type of
The
common
lack of whack
sense.
Rhyme writing.
rhyme like
Biting.
the igniting of flames that fuel innovation, tapping into the realm of concentration, to where the listener feels these hot dimensions, lyrics to make
Alien, stop and listen.
And on my mixtapes, any additional loops in my milk crates, record shops where I cop all my beat breaks, recording every one of my verses on the very first
when
take.
the loop speed doesn't exceed 90. To catch a line, an MC must rewind me to know my mom's behind me, that I've made this my art, my culture, my release, my outlet by means through which I reveal the
When my EP guest doesn't overheat, rebooting and I lose an entire beat. When somebody wanna diss or underrate me, I know this sounds strange, but it motivates me.
Stereotypes.
The shadow of gray matter, clutch the mic till it rusts. When an unforeseen kid busts in wild styles to thrust thoughts like rapids to rush. These are a few of our favorite things in hip hop, and there's a lot more where those came from. Don't play dumb, you know there's some of yours too. And if not, jot some, serve them, then do your best to preserve them. Our favorite things in hip hop, and there's a lot more where those came from. Don't play dumb, you know there's some of yours too. And if not, jot some, serve them, then do your best to preserve them.
Sing along at your house.
These are a few of my favorite things.
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 These is a few of my favorite things.
Man, these are a few of my favorite things.
Yeah, yo. Check it out, yo. Unforeseen chat, yo. Blueprint on the track, but if I ain't take that all you whack, yeah, favorite things track, yo.
Yeah, that was favorite things. To this day, this song still gives me makes me smile. It's like one of those joints where it's like, you know, it's just a beautiful freaking song. I just love that song. You know, it definitely lends itself to, you know, crowd participation and, you know, like just happiness. You know what I'm saying? Like it just has like that kind of just feel. You know what I'm saying? Like when you hear that beat, like you can't be sad when favorite things comes on. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't be like in a funk, you know, or you got to turn it off. You know what I'm saying? So favorite things is definitely like one of those favorites of mine that I go back to pretty regularly to listen to, because, you know, I think that was, you know, kind of showing me in Blueprints. That was the beginning of our chemistry as MCs, and, you know, kind of leading into what Greenhouse is today. So definitely one of those joints. So next is Check It Out. And Check It Out, again, you know what I'm saying, like as an MC, you know, I wanted to showcase my skills, and even on this song, Blueprint starts out, you know, show all these people what kind of styles you got. And you know, like I was a big fan of Pharoah Monch at the time. I was a big fan of you know, the Project Blow cats, and you know, like this was kind of my, you know, minuscule effort to dive into, you know, kind of stretching my voice a little bit, kind of doing some different things with some different styles. And, you know, but as an MC, you know, like I remember growing up listening to songs, and there was always like the interludes or even the outros where cats would give shout outs to all their people, shout outs to all their crew, all the cats that they hung with. And, you know, this was my homage to that, to those kind of interludes on a lot of the classic albums that I was a fan of at the time. So, and I think lyrically, you know, this song is like pretty dope. I think still, you know, some of the metaphors and similes may not hold up to this day. What up, South Africa in the house? May not necessarily hold up to this day. Some of them are kind of funny, some of them are kind of cheesy, you know, but at the time I was spitting flames, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm just gonna give y'all a taste of Check It Out, and just, you know, like recall that this was actually 1998, 97, 98 when I was writing this. And, you know, like, you know, pay attention to a lot of the cats that I give shout outs to in the hook, because, you know, we had a big, you know, conglomerate community of underground hip hop heads at the time, and, you know, it was really cool to be part of that, you know what I'm saying? So here we go with Check It Out.
Yo, what I want you to do on this one, Illogic, is show all these people what kind of styles you got. Because the true test of any MC is his versatility.
Yo, yo. So you wanna try battling? I know time will tell my prime, but I'll paddle time for tattling. I'm on some kinda time to hypnotize a hypnotist. Verbally vaginal. Take this stiff mic and split your lips. Lyrically, I'm picturesque and you're not photogenic. My shadow gets tripped up trying to mimic. In memory, mention me mentally starving. Put simplistically plotting, but waiting for you, my mind will malnourish. Find my style flourish, try not to bother it. Cause with your intellect, you couldn't stay atop your flow with a scholarship. Holler if you're hearing this, cause skill I'm revealing gets you higher than heaven, still in its never an execution. Feeling this? It's Illogic on the mic, check it out, y'all. Blueprint is on the track, check it out, y'all. Lioness is in the house, check it out, y'all. Those ones in the house, check it out, y'all. 5G's in the place, check it out, y'all. J-Raw's in the house, check it out, y'all. We got the third in the house, check it out, y'all. Check it out, y'all. Check it out, y'all. Check it out. Purified skill I demonstrated, the whack is eliminated. I can come off with a vasectomy and you struggle masturbating. For this rendition, I need some competition, some type of challenge or color smash. Melons like Gallagher with strength, you weak like one line of a calendar. Amateur, here's a warning, I keep it live. And you're snoring, I'm so hot. My conception was the initial stages of global warming, storming kids. Typhoon like when the mic ignites, I strike types that take flights to lights of elevated height, clogging pipes of wind. Bitten men on the regular, area flavor, your lactate. You defeating me as the probability of
lightning striking
3 times in the same place. Better make case, cause I'm destined for great things like the fetus of Jesus. The wisdom, I confuse the color schemats of prisms. I manipulate mics like the nation of Islam to attack men and lead whack men, endangered like the species of black men. I'm on the prowling, usually disemboweling my attacker. And for some reason, I got this habit of chain smoking rap. Mr. Diz in the house, check it out, y'all. Signify in the house, check it out, y'all. G Fresh in the place, check it out, y'all. Apple G, check it out, check it out, check it out, y'all. At times, my metaphors are hard for me to catch.
And I threw him.
Heads I flew them, ran through them with the quickness. Synaptic shutdown. What now can halt the pronoun for progressing? So aesthetically profound, I got nuns undressing. Let's slow down if possible. Cut throttle to light speed. This shit gotta see fags. Spit is so sick, I'll need a colostomy bag. Resistance is futile. I'm advancing hands when raps a dab. I'm so dope and you're so accurate. I defy the law that opposites attract. Herb, you don't got the nerve to test me.
I've never worked with Quell, but we've toured together before.
Down on a jet ski, you rock your name brands, but you don't impress me. If I was your breath while taking a rest, you couldn't catch me. Respect me, you get canceled like Matlock. Cut short like a half top. Stop, I told you, now I gotta fold you like a laptop. You wonder why you can't get me, it's cause you're not thinking. Cause yo, I flip more styles than a couch potato flips channels in a weekend. Megahertz is in the house, check it out, y'all. We got spirit in the house, check it out, y'all. MU is in the place, check it out, y'all. Opium is in the place, check it out, y'all. We got the roots in the house, check it out, y'all. Check it out, y'all. Check it out, y'all. Haikus in the place, check it out, y'all. Reisner and Huntley's in the house, check it out, y'all. All Outs in the place, check it out, y'all. Elevators in the place, check it out, y'all. It's Columbus on the mic, check it out, y'all. Check it out, y'all. Check it out, y'all. Check it out.
Yeah. Check it out, check it out, check it out, y'all. 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 I love that song. That song is that's definitely one of those buttery joints that, you know, I get a lot of gets a lot of playback for me too. And I think some of the lyrics on there, you know, so you want to try battling? I know time will tell my prime, but I'll paddle time for tattling. Like, I was on some different shit. As an 18-year-old, like I was on some different stuff, you know what I'm saying? And you know, it was really like fun to have someone like Print that encouraged me to be me, that encouraged me to push the envelope with my writing, to push the envelope with the styles that I was trying to come up with, and, you know, continue to, you know, blossom and help me grow as an MC. I don't think I would really be the MC that I am today without having Blueprint like in my corner. So, you know, it's like my brother, man. I love him to this day. So following that, you know, we got Blacksmith. Blacksmith was a member of the Third, and I asked him to do an interlude as well, because he was the only one in the crew that was in school with me that rhymed at the time, and I asked him to be on the record because I wanted representation of my crew on the record, even though once the record got closer to the end is when I was kicked out of the crew. But Blacksmith, I did throw him on here, and so moving on, Illogistics. Now, and I'm sorry, let me go back to Check It Out. If you listen to Check It Out, at the end of the first verse, I say it's Lerin Execution. You feeling this? That was the original name of that song. The original name of that song was Lerin Execution. And like when I did the hook, it just made more sense to call it Check It Out and not Lerin Execution. So that's a little funny tidbit about that joint. Now let's go to Illogistics. Illogistics was also, with this being my introduction to the hip hop world, I wanted everybody to know, what my belief system was. And as a Christian at the time, a lot of people may not know, but I started out, like, my first performance rapping was in church. And I started out basically as what they would consider a Christian rapper. And interestingly enough, when you put Unforeseen Shadows in your, if you get a copy of the album, you buy it from me, when you put it in your iTunes, it actually comes up as religious in the the genre. So I thought that was interesting when I pulled that up today. But Illogistics was more me kind of staking my claim as a Christian and kind of letting people know, where I stood as far as my belief system. And ironically, like when this album came out, the reason I point out the whole religious thing, and I didn't even know that was there until today. I didn't recognize it. I didn't notice it. But in the beginning, when Unforeseen first came out, like there was literally arguments on chat rooms about if I was a Christian rapper or not. Like the Christian community wanted to claim me as theirs. The regular underground community wanted to claim me as theirs. And I always thought that was an interesting little tidbit of information that, I thought was interesting and weird and funny at the same time. So, this was like my first kind of, step into the realm of being noticed as an MC, but I also wanted to let everybody know, my belief system and that I was a Christian. So, I wanted to make sure that I pointed that out in my music. So I'm gonna give you a little taste of that. Here we go. Illogistics. Yeah.
Yeah. It's Illogic, giving you the illogistic ways of life.
As I sip on my
Man,
whiskey.
Blueprint on the track. Trying to teach some of these kids how to live life correctly. Take heed. Check it out. Let there be is the phrase jolting me into existence from the molding of atoms. Me in sperm form persistent to my destination of egg fertilization. Detrimental to my survival, determination for penetration. Carrying over to my afterbirth in life with God's direction. Cause I'm chosen, I shatter laws of natural selection. Meaning I'm naturally selected. No matter who nature selects. And despise underdeveloped earthlings who nature neglects. I'm on some edification of the soul and mental development. Catching those falling into thinking that mental health's irrelevant. That's lack of intelligence. Lack of life control, so stop. Cause in the game of my life I'm coaching. So I'm calling shots and you're commentating. Following the play by play wherever it takes you. Just accepting, not asking questions about what things relate to. All you're concerned with is chicks and I amp you all with your camp. That's how society gets us slipped and stuck like stamps and postage. Regain focus of the iris. Look beyond horizons and know the godly don't interact with the heathen or the trifling. Now I'm not perfect. I've been on the wrong side of the fence in my time. And disrespected a couple of chicks in my time. But I've grown and learned how to make the use of my time. And now it's actually my time. My mind stays sharper than a dagger chiseled by heavenly hosts. Awaiting the time I'll be chilling with God over heavenly toast. Now while you on some nonsense, I'll be on some next sense. The only logic we can is a logic world, so I'm illogic. The epitome of secular inconsistency. So when you look for God, it shines through me. Now while you on some nonsense, nonsense. I'll be on some next sense. The only logical human in this illogical world, so I'm illogic. Epitome, secular inconsistency. So when you look for God, it'll shine through me. Yo, though times are strange, it's time to change before it's too late. But we don't want to. We need some type of secret ooze to mutate. Look at who you act like you hate. For God's sakes, your application for afterlife is past the due date. You soft cats with hard fronts that needs to be cracked. Killing God's people with the devil's poison to go to hell where he's at. We're chosen and you're choosing to like dark and fight light. You're Superman when doing wrong and to do right. It's kryptonite, the order of a new world is in sight. You can't miss it. Start predicting your own future. To do that, you gotta invent it. See, they want us to stay immersed in stupidity. Now hoping you mimic me, knowing if you mimic my mentality, you'll find a remedy. It seems you need a release. Unless pain is fun to you. While you're wasting your mind, you're spinning and wasting your time like it's refundable. Ladies also walking around offended when you're dressed like hoes on your way to hell, cause the only thing that sex sells is souls. You're not just a sex receptacle, there's more than life to be. And if you want to be treated differently, then act accordingly. I hate to hurt you with the truth, but you need the truth to survive, cause the logic's still trying to find some kind man in mankind. Insight to my words you'll find in the book of Proverbs. I reveal the genesis to your deliverance as words marching herds to the rhythm of ear drums pounding out melodies of mystery. You remain in misery while I live life illogic. Now while you on some nonsense, I'll be on some next sense. The only logical human in this illogical world, so I'm illogic. The epitome of secular inconsistency. So when you look for God, it'll shine through me. Now while you on some nonsense, I'll be on some next sense. The only logical human in this illogical world, so I'm illogic. The epitome.
Yeah, man, that was one of those that I had to do, just for my own sanity. To make sure that it was known where I stood. And definitely, Gareth, I appreciate you saying that you love how the religion comes through without being overbearing. That was the thing that I hated as a Christian. I didn't like the fact that being a Christian felt like people were always in my face about, what was right, what was wrong, you're going to hell, this and that. If you do this, you're going to hell. If you do that, you're going to hell. I never wanted to be that person. And honestly, on that song, I was a little more abrasive. Before I lived a little bit of life. And, now I make sure that my spirituality and my belief system comes through in my music without me trying to force anything on anybody. Because God gives us all choice. And this is what I choose. And if you choose what you choose, then, so be it. But, I never wanted to be overbearing. I never wanted to force anything on anyone, but I always wanted to take a stand to let people know where I stood and what I believed. So I definitely appreciate that, Gareth. And so next, we are going to move on to Angel. Angel was, at the time, I was still with my high school sweetheart. I was in college. I was with my high school sweetheart at the time. And, I was in love. I thought I was going to marry her. I was, expecting to, be with her for the rest of my life. And writing this song, really expressed what I felt about her at that time. But also, I hadn't lived any life. I hadn't grown into a man yet. And, not saying that this kind of love doesn't exist as a man, because I feel, this way times 10 about my wife now. But at the time, it was something because, I was still in my poetry bag really heavy then. I wrote this poem and, I wanted to record it. And the intro to this song, you have me calling Blueprint. And, I sound so happy about when I finished it, about, how in depth I told this story about this angel. And it's definitely one of those joints that I look back on and I am amazed by the writing of it, because it's really, really good. So moving on, we got Dose One. At the time, Dose One was really the guy that kind of opened me up to doing things very differently, and getting out of the box of what traditional hip hop was. Going over, because him and Yoni Y had an apartment literally like a block away from my dorm room. So that's where I was all the time. When I was supposed to be in class, like either I was at the crib writing rhymes or I was at Dos and Yoni's house because they were not in class. But they went to class, like Dos was like valedictorian of his senior class. So, he definitely did his thing. And I believe Y also graduated. I did not from Cincinnati. But, like it was.
Person I am, so will grow. You are a crowd too.
Out of here. But, yeah, like I did not graduate. And I would go over there and we would hang out and we would get super high and, just write. And him and Yoni would make like these weird ass beats that we would write to. And, like a lot of that is what became Green Think at the time. And, yeah, that was a great, great time. And Dos, again, was one of my close friends at that time. So I wanted him to be a part of this record and a part of my introduction to the world. So moving on, after Dose 1, we have Hate in a Puddle. And I told a little bit of this story when I did the Celestial Clockwork 16-year Beats and B-Sides. But at the time, when I went to college with the express idea that I was going to be building a relationship with my father that I did not grow up with, my biological father, because he was from Cincinnati as well. And I went there, hoping that would happen. And the first time I met him, I think I was super young because he was incarcerated while I was growing up. And the first time I remember meeting him, I was 13. I went to Cincinnati for like a summer and hung out. And then he came to my graduation when I graduated high school. And that was, I believe, the second time that I saw him. And then once my mom had gone to the University of Cincinnati, which is where they met. And that's how I was conceived. And going to the University of Cincinnati, I kind of wanted to go there as a kind of full circle thing to get me in touch with that side of my family and in touch with my father, which was a bad idea. The first day that I got to college, he came to my room, gave me like $30 and a pair of shoes that he bought me. And I didn't see him again for a long time. And I was super depressed. And in that time of depression, I went through everything from, getting addicted to prescription medication due to like migraines and other things. And also just full depression. I had suicidal thoughts, suicidal tendencies that I never really told anybody about. And luckily, God gave me this gift to write and to express myself and to put my thoughts and feelings out on paper. And I don't think that if I didn't have these things, I probably would not have survived that depression that I was going through. So I remember recording this song, or writing this song. Actually, one day I was over Dose's house and I was super, super high. And I remember it was rain, it was pouring down rain outside. And I walked home in the rain from Dose's house. And on the way home, I walked through the parking lot of my dorm room, or my dorm building. And there was a huge puddle in front of me. And I stopped and I kind of looked at myself in it and started bawling. And so I continued to walk up to my room, and I lived in like upperclassmen dorms at the time. So I had a balcony, and I went out on my balcony, full tears, and sat on my balcony and wrote this song. And to this day, I believe that without this song, I probably would not have survived college and survived that time of depression. So I'm very blessed that I was given this gift and the gift of this song. And I've gotten many letters and emails and, just kudos from people who this song has also assisted them, just letting them know that they weren't alone and that they what they were going through was something that somebody else survived and that people go through all the time. It's not always fun. It's not good necessarily, but it's a part of life, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. So I do want to play Hate in a Puddle just for those that haven't heard it and for those that, you know, have been touched by it. So here we go. Hate in a Puddle.
I encounter this guy, unable to give a rebuttal with rivers of pain flood his eyes, wondering why he's a gift with no purpose, a priceless one-of-a-kind piece that's worthless, grounded with no surface. And when he shows one, it's a facade, cause inside he fights feelings that he was a mistake by God. I see his confusion and self-perception, questions of relevance and intelligence. He holds an illusion of self-acceptance that he shows to those outside looking in. He's outside looking into his own life, looking for strength to carry on as a pawn in his chess game of existence. In his mind, he wants to go on to the dawn and lead the stress that came with existence, hoping to death he'll find life, cause as he lives he roams the dark trying to find light. He's made his heart so hard he doesn't even cry anymore, cause he's confronted sorrow frequently. His heart's been broken frequently. It's like he's lost some part of him and just haven't found it yet. So in his search he's left with nothing but questions and regret. All he wants to know is how one day he's content, and the next day he's crying cause his life isn't what he thought life meant. He just wants to be happy with his love and all, but too often I get messages through telepathic calls. He's asking me through a puddle, what more must he endure to continue? But for some reason he knows he must endure to continue. When I walk past puddles, my reflection calls begging me to answer his questions about life and his perceptions, and tell him why I hate him so much. Damn, I wonder why I hate him so much. And when I walk past puddles, my reflection calls begging me to answer his questions about life and his perceptions, and tell him why I hate him so much. Damn, I wonder why I hate him so much. Why did I hate him so much? I wondered, pondered on the question. What did my mind cause me to despise my reflection? I didn't know, I just knew when I saw him how I felt, and hated the fact that he had to play with the cards that he was dealt. He's come in contact with some ill things that can't be explained. Life's extracted his energy to where the pain can't be contained. So to me he comes, shedding tears like skin, intimate with some, only the ones he calls friends if he even exists. He only exists in pain. It's like his life is a myth and he's been blessed with the gift of shame. I mean, from birth to love he's been betrayed, reason unknown, and how to cope with that pain and disappointment he's come to know as he's grown. He feels he stands alone in this world of puddle images, and he awaits the time for when time finishes. He tries to elevate thought, but he's still chilling in the basement, awaiting the rebirth of his soul as it fears its spiritual place. When I walk past puddles, my reflection calls begging me to answer his questions about life and his perceptions, and tell him why I hate him so much. Damn, I wonder why I hate him so much. And when I walk past puddles, my reflection calls begging me to answer his questions about life and his perceptions, and tell him why I hate him so much. Damn, I wonder why I hate him so much. God, I pray you can give me a purpose or help me find it, cause on this narrow path of self-damnation, I can't find it. Is it something I need to know? Some way I need to grow to get out of this rut? God, give me some self-trust. Love is something I'm looking for. Thought I found it, or have I wanna live, but can I? Or do I have to die too? I try to have life, but my life seems kinda worthless as I'm staring at this puddle. God, I pray that you can give me a purpose or help me find it, cause on this narrow path of self-damnation, I can't find it. Is it something I need to know? Some way I need to grow to get out of this rut? God, please give me some self-trust. Love is something I'm looking for. Thought I found it, or have I wanna live, but can I? Or do I have to die too? I try to have life, but my life seems kinda worthless as I'm staring in this puddle. When I walk past puddles, my reflection calls begging me to answer his questions about life and his perceptions, and tell him why I hate him so much. Damn, I wonder why I hate him so much. And when I walk past puddles, my reflection calls begging me to answer his questions about life and his perceptions, and tell him why I hate him so much. Damn, I wonder why I hate him so much.
Yeah, that was Hate the Puddle. Yeah, that song still to this day. I remember the first time that I ever performed that song. I actually performed it at my release party, and I don't know if people remember or not, but you know, like me performing at my release party, I performed this song, and I remember performing it. It was the first time I performed it, and I broke down in tears as I was performing this song, and it was probably one of the most, and to this day, like, it's still a difficult song for me to perform, even though I have been delivered from that mindset and delivered from, you know, this place of hating myself or having low self-esteem, and I still get there sometimes, but it's still a difficult song to perform. And crazy enough, when I recorded this song at Blueprint's house, I remember when we finished it, and I think I told this story before, but when we finished it, he was kind of just, you know, looking at me with concern, with serious concern. And I remember him saying, you know, anytime you need to talk, what up, Chucky? Anytime you need to talk, anytime, you know, you need me to just come get you, you know, anytime you need anything, you know, just let me know and I'll be there for you. And from that day forward, I remember, like, Print would literally call me, like, for a while he was calling me like every day if we didn't talk. Like, he would call me just to check on me, just to see if I was all right. And I really appreciated that at that time, because I really needed that. But also I needed to be able to get these words out and get these feelings out, to, you know, kind of free myself a little bit of those emotions. So, you know, to anybody that's ever feeling, you know, anything like that, even if you don't consider yourself a writer, it's always best to write those things down or to talk to people about what you're going through, because, you know, trouble don't last always. Things, you know, will get better. The sun will come out tomorrow. Just right now, you know, you got a rain cloud hovering over you, and you got to deal with that. But it doesn't mean that life is over just because you're feeling down at a certain time. So just want to give that, you know, little tidbit of encouragement. So, like, moving on, we have Blueprint, and Blueprint didn't even, for his interlude, he didn't rhyme. The interesting thing enough, if you listen to the song closely, like, and this is what I say about the mixing of this album, if you listen to the song closely, the background, like, he's freestyling a verse, which is actually a pretty dope verse. It's very difficult to make out, but it just gives, like, this, like, really kind of crazy, you know, effect, and him talking over it and really talking about the album and really talking about, you know, watching me and helping me go through this process of developing this album. And it was really, like, dope for him to close it out like that, and to break it into, you know, kind of this last scene of the movie, you know, if you will. So yeah, like, it definitely closed out the album very well and kind of lets you know, like, this is something special. You were witnessing something that was, like, kind of once in a lifetime. And, you know, I really appreciated him, you know, saying the things that he said and, you know, just going through the journey with me. So next we have Tell of a Griot. And Tell of a Griot, like, this was one of those songs that I wrote when I was, like, dumb high. But, you know, like, I was just kind of, like, analyzing the whole world and analyzing everything that I was going through, and analyzing, you know, everything from the leaves to the grass to, you know, whatever could be analyzed at the time. And, you know, it was one of those, like, kind of hippie, like, you know, sessions that I had with myself when I wrote this song. And it's actually one of my, you know, one of those joints that's, like, that kind of sticks out on the record. So I do want to play it for y'all, and, you know, like, kind of listen to me get bugged out, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's one of those, definitely one of those, like, bugged out moments on this record, but I love it.
Time is but a position on a circular piece of mechanic architecture. It's running out, so grab your pen and pad so I can start to lecture. Have you read the chapters assigned, made for you to expand your mind? Refine the voice of fine wine, collected from a bleeding vine, overflowing with all-knowing gifts designed to stretch imagination. I have in me the ignition key. Gentlemen, start your patience, guarding patrons of the sidewalk junkies eradicate immediately. Those who haven't faced their fate expediently. Your demon in me tries to escape through written pages, ripping stages to shreds, bringing bass to heads, unlocking cages with bread. Now that's a task with the difficulty rating of 5. Expecting myself to survive has always been in the purpose of my rhyme. I've always wanted to be considered one of the dopest in my field, and it'll happen if we're not rapping. I focus when I build. A lot of kids in the industry already fell off. They just don't know it yet. So until they get the guard of fake's reality, they won't know regret. I have no regrets that on the track of life I kept stepping, covering up the pain from the lessons I could only learn from Gretchen. Thinking green, thinking up scenes of life to wallow in, hoping I'm dope enough my footsteps someone will want to follow when I swallow in depth. Chewable artists that wanted to spark this match stop heating me before my exit thoughts start to hatch. A heart attack is coming. Smarter raps are running rampant, and you catching them is like having a table with no legs and trying to stand. Your defense is down, so I walked in. Yet you're still talking. You need to live. For you, I've given all that I can give. Take this rib and be married. Be a woman if you wanna, cause you're acting feminine. This in society, yet you're blending in. Your defenses are down, so I just walked in. Yet you're still talking. You need to live. For you, I've given all that I can give. Just take this rib and be married. Be a woman if you wanna, cause you're acting feminine. This in society, yet you're blending in. To be perfectly honest will be impossible because I'm human. Only half-truths and partial realities can leap from my tongue. The saliva-soaked chunk of flesh that I possess is the key to life rumors. Divine state which activates the piercing poison of its venom exists in all who breathe. Those way and exhale may suffocate. Seeing life's in the bag, just take a bite and gag on your face. That's why I wait for news to break. So I grab the screwdrivers and vice grips so you get the picture. I can plant 35 millimeters in each eyelid, and every blink is a snapshot. In succession, I hide under that rock. Life's an investment. If you invest in bad stock, shouldn't be shocked when it drops. But it seems since isn't common anymore. Only few hold it. Others don't think, they just cock the Libernex tech before they load it and spit blanks. Thinking they spit shells. I'm in heaven and ripping hell. In life scenes, I'm chasing dreams while y'all chase y'all tails. Our television with improvision, improvise and intro time. Accelerate with US bait. Go fishing in Thoughts Lake. I thought faith was in the Christian, but I see faith is in the man with no legs, claiming to stand steadfast and straight up on God's land. I saw the plans for your mansion in paradise. You already got your cake, started to eat it too, and can't even share a slice. I said it twice and I'll say it a third. I'm better with words, to twist and bend fractions, create brain curves and blend actions with reality backdrops, with camouflage slap shots. Stop props for acting like you know yourself. Shed the noteless flesh you want to disguise your imperfections. Replicate thoughts that hibernate to hatch all perceptions. What you hear is what you receive. Take it in stride and continue to beat as a sheet of loose leaf in a hurricane. Free, shed the noteless flesh you want to disguise your imperfections. Replicate thoughts that hibernate to hatch all perceptions. What you hear is what you receive. Take it in stride and continue to beat as a sheet of loose leaf in a hurricane. Free. Unfortunately, life isn't equipped with whiteout and correctional tape. Instead, it comes with lies to hide truth, trying to correct fate. Let your mind inhale and intake lakes of thought projectile. And if you're gonna talk ish, at least perfect foul movements and motions as I build with the pen. I'm trying to stagnate destiny and simultaneously rush adrenaline. Since existence is ambiguous, you may take what you can and leave what you will. In other words, take a stand and leave what you killed. And if it's an old self, then become new, become you, become true, personified dichotomy and become two. Come on, play your part, cause time's a stage and life's the play. There's no need to lock the cage now since the beast already escaped. So grab the tranquilizers, hunt it down and get it tamed. Then according to them, you need to find a style and get a name. Success according to Big Brother and company. To surpass that, I'm expecting alien entities to come for me. To relieve stress, I reflect how my heart rests in the hands of an African angel. Pain strangled in 5 days in a week from...
Yeah, Humble Heroics, me and Odd Nostam do have a project that is on its way.
Keep an open mind when common sense freely disperses. Concentrate, my voice inoculates. You wait for the serum, purified venom spit. When you emit oxymoronic symptoms, you are what you become when you blend with righteousness. While writing this, the crosshair on your consciousness. It's up to you if I hit a miss. I use the canvas of time to paint lifelines and create masterpieces. While the bricklayer rest, I continue to build on my thesis. They say perfection's only achieved in death, and my words must not exist, but I exist and I am words, so I must be verbally flawless. I use the canvas of time to paint lifelines and create masterpieces. While the bricklayer rest, I continue to build on my pieces. They say perfection's only achieved in death, then my words must not exist, but I exist and I am words, so I must be verbally flawless. Share the noteless flesh you born to disguise your imperfections. Replicate thoughts that hibernate to hatch all perceptions. What you hear is what you receive. Take it in stride and continue to be as a sheet of blue sleep in a windy day. Free to crib and be merry. Be a woman if you wanna, cause you're acting feminine. It's in society, yet you're blending in. Unforeseen shadow.
Yeah, man.
Tell of a Creole.
Yeah, man. Unforeseen was like definitely like a big part of my growth as an MC and just as a human being, you know. And I'm definitely again like grateful that I got to create this with Blueprint. So we are coming to the end. I just want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank you for supporting me for over 20 years in my career. I wouldn't be able to, you know, do this without you guys. Yeah, it's wild that, you know, I created something that's 20 years old. My oldest son isn't even 20 years old yet. He's 18. So just having, you know, something that I can look at and be proud of in this time is definitely great. The fact that you guys still listen to it, the fact that you guys still purchase it is an awesome thing. So thank you so much. And you know, this is Beats and B-Sides. Again, I'm going to be going every 2 weeks. So next week, we won't have a Beats and B-Sides, but I probably will stream at some time during that time, just pop up, you know, here and there. But yeah, Beats and B-Sides, we're going every 2 weeks. Thank y'all for so much. I am working on some Beats and B-Sides merch that you will be able to get at Illogic.com. So check out the website, you know, buy something, you know, check out the blogs, all that stuff. So again, thank you guys so much. And yeah, so I'm gonna dip out of here and I'm gonna leave y'all with Cinderella Complex, which is the last song on the album. Cinderella Complex was actually like the last song that we recorded, and you know, after Tel of a Griot, it was like, you know, another heavy joint, but this beat that Print made was so weird and so unorthodox, and I just wanted to challenge myself and write into it. And you can hear it offbeat and, you know, kind of crazy, kind of weird. So I'm gonna play this joint and then I'm gonna be out. I'm gonna fade out. But thank y'all again for listening to me. This has been Beats and B-Sides, episode 5, 20 years of Unforeseen Shadows. I thank y'all for rocking with me. Definitely thank y'all so much. And yeah, we gonna end it with Cinderella Complex. But peace, y'all. Definitely appreciate y'all. I'm out.
All the dudes be just standing around saying, so what you waiting on, man?
11:30. We gonna bitch a bitch at 11:30.
When the clock strikes 12, all Cinderella game pieces are delicately placed back on the shelf, with both shoes included, to rest with little movement. No longer will they be allowed to dance to the music when the clock strikes 12. All Cinderella game pieces are delicately placed back on the shelf, with both shoes included, to rest with little movement. No longer will they be allowed to dance to the music.
Gloria, aura to create, oracles, deflate, oratorical, weight of weightlessness. As I defy gravitational law, deny that you're waiting to fall. When all was I, strip your disguise with my eyes, no contact. Not surprised that you despise reality. Pressing for fantasy sessions as perfections approaching me gradually. Actually, when you combine Blueprint and I mathematically, the light of the wisdom splits prisms, giving a logarithm. It's the dog in them, making them fetch the next bone thrown by the master, causing universal disasters when clones break from Earth's blast. The stereo typecaster of the phony, the only stereo mic master, lonely at the top of the food chain, stopping the fool's brain solely for the purpose of making a hip-hop purchase worthless desist. And with this goal I disperse amidst the flow script to expose the limpness of your wrist. See, bliss exists within this shell of flesh as a mesh of life and death. Give me life or death, and either one I'll have the reciprocal while you have what's given to you. Don't wait for what's left or right to give in to you, cause in that time else you've taken and I've given of you. Getting your crew is infeasible, and as far as me pleasing, you kill it. I write for my own ears if that's all my sound is pleasing to. Take that to your memory bank as a a deposit. And withdraw thoughts to taint a logic. Here I'll loan you a project with interest so you can take some. Who cares if you take offense? I'll throw you and your crew over the fence. Wipe your mental slate clean and leave no fingerprints. But you spitting one of my writtens is evidence in a sense. So take that to the judge and I'll take your blood in exchange for mud. The same value of change, right? You're left with your breath in one hand, mic in the other. Smothered to rock, you gotta drop either or. Chose which one you needed more. Now you're death on a mic device. While I splice life with what I write to illuminate the night and bring insight.
When the clock strikes 12, all Cinderella game pieces are delicately placed back on the shelf, with both shoes included, to rest with little movement. No longer will they be allowed to dance to the music when the clock strikes 12. All Cinderella game pieces are delicately placed back on the shelf, with both shoes included. They rest with little movement. No longer will they be allowed to dance to the music.
As you can see, this track is scolding. So I went for a swim and urinated in your gene pool, cause I couldn't hold it. Contaminate before bladder burst. You're the one cursed, so shatter first. I implore you as a chatterbox in a hearse. I ignore you. Soar to new plateaus of being a human orifice from which what I speak emits, and you kiss left cheek of anal core. My advice, you don't score, in fact you get a .2 deduction for lack of skill on your triple axle. I'm nice with my script life, bring you to a place where I drop twice and you drop singles for ice melting. Mingle with break beats, words flirt with loops and take sweet fragrance. Scoop track up, carry rap over the threshold. We eloped instantly, intimacy breeds offspring. Engineered to bleed pins, walking directionless. Now you're impressed with this talking, effortless expression of jovial intensity combined with my known arsenal of lingual weaponry, simultaneously engulfing MC particles, spitting spontaneously, splitting minds angrily with rhyme faithfully. Time waits for no man, so I'm exempt. You imps hold hands in battles for strength, but still you're rattled by my flow span. I don't have time for playing. I assassinate characters who exaggerate the barriers of their rapping rate. You're trapped in fate with no escape, scarier than a disaster date. Rhymes, I'm blending them with pendulums to decapitate. When I get radical with tactical, biological warfare, strategic positioning before attack, adapt the syntax and more rare deliveries from esophagus to the lips. Make prime rib of an optimist, transform physical with that norm, lyrical patterns, splattering ass storms hitting you, gathering matter in clouds of atoms, gathering matter in clouds of atoms.
When the clock strikes 12, all Cinderella game pieces are delicately placed back on the shelf, with both shoes included. They rest with little movement. No longer will they be allowed to dance to the music when the clock strikes 12. All Cinderella game pieces are delicately placed back on the shelf, with both shoes included, to rest with little movement. No longer will they be allowed to dance to the music. No longer will they be allowed to dance to the music. No longer will they be allowed to dance to the music.
Hey, and I tried to get home before 11 because that's when my father had me to be home. Say, where you going, Rick? Huh? You ain't asked nobody to go no place. What the fuck, you a man now, nigga? You got a job, this is a job. I don't give a fuck where you go be 4 by 11. You understand 11, don't you? You can tell time, can you? What's that clock say in the kitchen? The clock, motherfucker, what's the clock say? 11 o'clock, bring your ass here. I don't need down the street singing with them niggas either. I ain't getting your ass out of jail no more, motherfucker. Right, bring me back a paper. Right? And you go out, nothing start happening until 11:30. Right, all the dudes be just standing around and saying, what you waiting on, man?
11:30. We gonna pitch a bitch at 11:30.